Hi, I'm Ryan Oman,
And I'm Nicole Oman.
and together we are guided
Headed by
by
the
the
omens.
omens. And we want to explain in a little bit greater detail what the seven aspects of love is all about. And it's connected to the seven chakra system, but it is our sort of interpretation of the balance point or the mass integration center of these energetic centers. And to us, the seven aspects are the guidelines, the sort of through line, if you will, of life that'll help you to stay in balance, harmony, and grace.
If you look at a chakra, so if you don't know what a chakra is, they are energetic centers inside of our bodies. They are kind of like the dimensions of our life. And within those dimensions, we want to be in harmony with those dimensions. So our life is in alignment. So our life feels like it has some sort of sense of grace and sense of God
And balance.
and balance, definitely.
And as a sound healer, I work with the chakras specifically through the vibrations of sound. And the seven chakra system adheres very neatly with the seven notes of the C major scale, with the root chakra being C, the sacral being D, the solar plexus being E, heart F, throat G, third eye A, and of course the crown is B. And the significance of that when it comes to the seven aspects of love has to do with the purity of a note. So if you've ever tuned a guitar or heard a piano that is out of tune, you know the difference when you hit the C note and it makes the right sound, and you hit the C note and it makes the wrong sound. Now, it's still plucking that note, but it's just slightly out of alignment. The pitch
either
isn't
flat
quite there.
or sharp.
Exactly.
And our chakras do the same thing. And when you're in that harmonic resonance, that in tune vibration, that is the aspect of love.
It's basically just that perfect note, that balanced, tuned frequency where you can play the metaphorical guitar that is your energetic body with grace and ease like you would play a well-tuned musical instrument. So let's go ahead and dive into the seven aspects themselves, starting with the root chakra. The root chakra is located at the base of the spine, or the perineum, or the coccygeal plexus. And at the base there, this is where life is real, and it gets like as tangible and dense and materialistic as possible. And the
This is a table.
That's right. It's like this is our reality from a materialistic standpoint. Everybody can agree on that in an objective way. The aspect of love associated with the root chakra is pragma, which is a Greek term that means committed love. It's the type of love that you have in a long-term or a married relationship.
And pragma, you can expand that word to pragmatic or practical, right? So it's going to deal with just showing up and doing the work. In a good mood, we show up, we do the work. We are in a bad mood, we show up and we do the work. It's really about committing no matter what, having the routine, so that you can make that second nature, love second nature for you, and really committing to things that you actually love and want to prioritize. So it has a lot to do with prioritizing things that matter.
And also, like Nikki brought up the routine concept, it's about what we do. It is how we interact with the world on a physical level and how we show up. And so
and take action.
You can't manifest anything without taking physical action. And the root chakra and therefore pragma are associated with that commitment to taking daily steps or regular routine steps towards whatever that goal may be for you.
Then we can move into the next center, which is Eros, or the sacral chakra.
The sacral chakra is located just above or just below the belly button, sort of in that area the womb is, and it is very much more feminine center, which, as Nikki already said, is connected to Eros. Eros is the Greek term for passionate love. It's the type of love that gets a little bit of a bad reputation because it can be a little sticky. It can get a little bit messy.
Not only does it get a bad reputation, actually, it gets an obsessive reputation, because this is where we hold our sexual energy and our sensual energy. And this is where we have conception and we have babies and we form life in this area. It's also connected to our cycles, especially for women. We have that major cycle every month. And that connects us to our moon, our emotions, and all these like kind of subjective kind of energies.
It's getting a little, as we go up the energetic scale, we will get more and more subjective. The sacral chakra is about creativity and creation. And that creation energy needs a gestation process. And that's why the cycles of the moon or the cycles of the tides of the ocean, these cyclical aspects of life really resonate with this center. And Eros, as anybody who's experienced Eros knows, it's got a cycle to it. There are times where you feel really passionate about your project you're working on, or your lover, your partner. And then there's times where that passion ebbs, it retreats, and suddenly it feels like, oh no, it'll never come back. It always comes back if you just trust the process. And I think that's the ultimate lesson of Eros, is to not get so caught up in what's happening in this moment, realizing that there's a cyclical process to everything and everything will come back around.
Absolutely. I think of it also is where our desire for the masculine and feminine energies want to connect on a physical level as well. So it's Shiva Shakti, and it's this energy of why we crave another person and have that physical connection to each other.
The desire to want to connect comes from Eros.
Mm-hmm.
So moving up the scale from Eros, we get into the solar plexus chakra, and this is really the chakra of the self. Self-love, self-worth, self-esteem, all harbors here. And so the aspect of love connected to the solar plexus is Philautia, which is basically love of the self.
It also connects us to our identity, and this is kind of where it gets a little tricky with Eros or with Philautia, is it also connects to our ego. And a lot of people have a different kind of relationship to this word or to this concept, where I personally believe that our ego is the roles that we play, and the lower self. My personality in this lifetime is Nicole Oman. Yours is Ryan Oman. The roles that we play and what we identify with. And we're always shedding those roles in different cycles of our life. And so this is a very important aspect for our particular role on the planet, who we believe we are, and who we become to other people.
The ego gets a bad reputation as being something we should either destroy or remove or subjugate, but it's really just a tool. It's just like scuba gear helps you to be able to breathe underwater. The ego helps you to interact on this physical plane of existence. And so removing the ego is detrimental in the sense that you won't be able to interact on a human level with other humans. So having a healthy ego, to in our opinion, is more sustainable than trying to remove or defeat the ego. And
maybe
as Nikki
humbling
said,
our ego a little bit,
right,
but not destroying it.
Right, and it's more like learning how to utilize the ego as the tool that it was designed to be, to help you interact with the environment. And so going back to the aspect of love, Philautia is about learning how to love yourself. And this is a slippery slope because, the Greeks also warned this idea of the narcissist. They're the ones who coined the phrase, and boy, do we use that term a lot these days. The idea of narcissism it goes beyond the idea that you feel like you're the center of the universe and that and you're the greatest and everybody else revolves around you. And it goes into this idea that you are identifying with this physical body, this personality, this aspect of yourself that is interacting with this world, and that's the only thing that matters. You are obsessively focused on yourself in this incarnation and
how
forget
you
about your connection to
feel,
the whole.
and how you feel and what you believe and what you think, and you kind of get warped and identified into something that's only one part of the truth.
And true self-love is self-acceptance. Realizing that there are parts of you that you will always cherish and there are parts of you that will always drive you crazy. And it's okay, because you are an individual and your unique snowflake aspect is what makes you you. Learning how to appreciate that, how to honor that, and how to use that as a tool to interact with others, just like you use your car. You know, your car has certain limitations and you drive it in the way that fits you. People who drive a minivan don't drive the same way as people who drive a sports car. Even though people in the minivan might want to drive it like they drive a sports car, they still have to realize that there are some practical limitations to the minivan. It also has some positive attributes. You can haul a bunch of things like people and stuff in a minivan, whereas a sports car can really only take a couple of people really fast. So there's nothing wrong with the vehicle that you possess, aka your personality or your body. It's about understanding it, appreciating its limitations and its gifts, and being able to utilize that with love.
Beautiful. I love that.
Why, thank you. Would you like to introduce the next aspect of love, my dear?
Yes, well, the next aspect connects to my favorite chakra. My favorite chakra is the heart chakra. And there is such beauty in this because we just talked about the 3 lower chakras. And we are about to talk about the 3 upper chakras. But there's one that bridges both. And that is the heart. And the heart is so wise and so beautiful. And what love connects here is also very important to me, which is Storge. And Storge, the aspect of love of Storge, is familial love, unconditional love. The love that a mother or a father has for their children. No matter what that child does, even though they might drive you crazy, you don't have the favorite child. You love them for what they are and who they are. And we can pick our friends, we can pick our environment, we can pick where we live, but we don't usually pick our family, at least not consciously on this plane of existence. And so these people that we're thrust into this world with, who have our parents who have raised us and programmed us and given our foundational experiences, we have to either accept that or reject it. And that is going to show us if we are in harmony with Storge or not.
Yeah, and it's unconditional in the sense that no matter what happens, we still reside in the center of love. And it's so beautiful that it's connected to the center of the chakra system, because I don't necessarily see the chakras in order from lowest to highest. I see them more like spokes on a wheel, and the center or the hubcap of that, or the axis of that wheel, is the heart. And this is why all of it goes back to the 7 aspects of love for us, because the love is that unifier. It's that thing that permeates through all 7 energy centers and keeps you in alignment, keeps you in flow, and creates that rainbow bridge that takes you from lower consciousness to higher consciousness, but also from higher consciousness to lower consciousness. It's important that this is a bridge built with 2 lanes, one going up and one coming down. That's the tantric energy of it. And the heart chakra is the center point of this beautiful bridge of love.
Storge also brings in one of my favorite techniques, if you will, and it's a Hawaiian technique called the Ho'oponopono, and it just, Ho'oponopono translates to set right. And it brings in these healing components, which is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you.
Which just happens to be 4 phrases, and this is the 4th chakra.
And the 4 chambers of the heart.
And the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. If you haven't read it, make sure you do.
And with those, I'm sorry brings in self-responsibility, not fault, responsibility, forgiveness for yourself and for others, gratitude for all things, and I love you, which is, I think, embracing it all. Good, bad, and everything in between.
That's right. It's the acceptance that the true heart of Storge resides in. You've accepted the fact that this part of your life isn't going anywhere. And you got to love it and you have to cherish it. So moving on from the heart chakra into the throat chakra. The throat chakra is the first in the 3 upper chakras, and the love aspect associated with the throat chakra is Xenophilia. Xeno, or Xenios, was a huge part of Greek culture in the ancient Greek times because the Greeks believed wholeheartedly, and it's all in their writings, that the gods would incarnate as humans to test the humans and see if they were treating each other with respect. And so a god could show up at your door and knock on the door and presenting itself as a humble beggar, want to be treated as a god. If you brought that person into your home and you bathed them and you fed them before you even asked their name, and then that person reveals themselves to be a god, you'll be blessed. Now, if you treated that person with disdain and did not give them the xenios or hospitality, then you would be cursed. And so this permeated society so much in Greek culture that the Odyssey is quite literally written about this principle. The theme of the Odyssey is Xenios. So Xenophilia is the idea of loving others, loving strangers, loving humanity. This idea that you have to reach outside of yourself and connect to the collective in order to experience wholeheartedly what it is to be human.
One of the things I love about the throat chakra is this concept of the 3 C's. Commune, communication, and community. And it all has that root word of commune, right? We need each other. It just is what it is. And right now, humanity is at a very interesting evolutionary point. We are more connected than ever, but yet we are becoming more divisive. That might be an illusion, actually. But we are going through a certain rebirth, an understanding of who we are. And I think xenophilia, which is the opposite, we listen to that word, the opposite word of xenophilia, which is xenophobia, and we hear it a lot. And there is a lot of fear of what we do not understand. And xenophilia brings us back to, even if we disagree, we can still honor. Because the truth be told, and this I think came from either Ram Dass or Bashar, actually, the quote, "We are one and we are one. We are one and we are one," which honors our individuality and what we believe and what we perceive and what we understand and what we experience. And then also we are one. We are connected to everyone and everything, that we are a part of a whole totality. And when we start to understand that, we drop the ego and we start to honor everyone's experience, perspective, and understanding for just what it is, and being as appropriate and as relevant as ours, which is a weird dichotomy for your little brain to grasp a hold of.
One of the most poignant displays of xenophilia is the term namaste. Mm-hmm. Namaste is a term that everybody uses in yoga class, whether they understand what they're saying or not. But the basis of namaste is quite simply the God that resides within me recognizes and honors the God within you. And when we recognize that we are gods, Philautia, and that you are gods, Xenophilia, we are all on the same vibrational frequency, and we are now entrained and in harmony with each other.
I love how you set those up.
Oh, thanks. Well, we've got 2 more to go. What's the next one, babe?
The next one is, well, it's in the third eye. So the third eye is an interesting little center. It's kind of unique. It's a little bit of a contrarian. It has its own perspective. And sometimes it's a hidden perspective, right? So there's things on the surface that we can physically see and perceive, but that third eye right in the center of our of our mind that is connected to something bigger. The aspect of love that's connected to the third eye is called Ludus. And this one is really interesting because this one, even in its love form, can still be a little bit of a trickster.
Yeah, the energy of the third eye is something that doesn't like to be put inside of a container. We're getting really close to the highest level now, and this is where the reality starts to get a little bit weird. For anybody who's had odd dreams or hallucinatory experiences or anything outside of the norm, whether it's, being able to see ghosts or being able to have any extrasensory abilities at all, that's residing in the third eye chakra. One of the talents we have as humans, and curses honestly, is our ability to project onto other people, places, or things what we believe they should or shouldn't be, or what it is that we want them to be. And Ludus is such a perfect aspect of love to connect to the third eye, because Ludus means flirtatious or imaginary love. This idea that you're projecting onto somebody you just met all the amazing features that you want in a partner, even though you don't know them. And then after 3 to 6 months of dating them, you realize that they're just a human like everybody else. But that projection aspect of reality is what gets you from being a person who is looking at somebody to a person who's interacting with somebody. And that interaction takes you down a whole path of experience where you and the other person get to learn and grow from each other. So without the inspiration of Ludus or that flirtatious or fantasy love, you would never take the first steps into action of involving yourself with anything.
Well, and it comes to a double-edged sword word called potential. Because if we don't look at potential of an opportunity or a person or a lifestyle, we're never going to take action to do it. We have to project ourselves into a certain part of ourselves or a certain timeline that will inspire us and to motivate us to actually take the actions to become that. And Ludus is a very interesting energy because it has a lot of power. It can take over our mind, and we will have, our logical mind could kick in and be like, don't do that. That is not going to be good. But your mind can go into this, it's imagination at its purest form. And it could go in, but that would be such a fun thing to go through. And your logical self's like, are you sure about that? But Ludus will and can pull you into a different part of you. I don't think we could ever really grow or evolve without the enticement of this Ludus energy.
From an energetic standpoint, it's the first step in incarnation. You have gone from thought to perception, and that perception eventually becomes your reality.
Yeah.
Now, we have gotten so accustomed as physical beings to experience the world and its physical vibrations and its physical interactions as real, that we forget that everything starts here and works its way down into a real experience. And so this is the first step in any process, is imagining it. And this is where people, start thinking about manifestation, whether you're manifesting
your
a partner,
vision
boards, all these wonderful things. It all starts here. You have to fantasize first, and that fantasy is the first step towards creating anything in this reality, which is why it's important. But it's a little bit trickstery. It's gonna challenge you. It's like, oh, do you really want that? It's almost like a djinn or a genie in the bottle. It's like, be careful what you wish for.
And it's good to note that every one of the chakras and every one of the aspects of love does have its shadow period, but the love in Ludus is semi-shadowy. And it kind of teaches us to fall back in love with the shadow aspects of consciousness.
Interestingly
that
enough,
it's part of it, that consciousness is semi-shadowy.
Well, yeah, without shadow, there's no contrast. When you're learning to draw, you learn how to create shapes and then add shadow to them in order to make them look three-dimensional. So if we're going to live in a three-dimensional reality, there is going to be shadow. And interestingly enough, all of the chakras align with different colors of the rainbow, including the third eye. But the third eye is indigo, which sets itself apart because indigo is essentially just dark blue. The throat chakra is light blue. None of the other colors have a dark and light version. It just happens to be that the blue center of the throat and the dark blue center or the indigo center of the third eye have this sort of light dark thing going on, which is a very interesting play of energy, which we can get into in other videos in the future. But the importance to remember is that the shadow aspect is an aspect of reality that has to be
honored,
incorporated. I think we should probably move on to the final chakra. Sure. Which is the crown chakra, and the crown chakra is connected to the aspect of love, agape. Agape is one of those wonderful terms that almost just feels good to say it, because agape essentially means God is love or everything is love. There is no differentiation. Once you get to this energetic center, you lose all concept of differentiation. There is not you and me. There is just everything, and everything is God, and everything is love. And so once you've moved back, and I say move back because it's a remembrance, you're not achieving the crown chakra, you're not getting there for the first time. It's a coming home. It's where we all start, and it's where we all go back. And there's this terror that there's somehow going to be negative things that we've pulled from our life experience, and they're going to be drawn back into this center and somehow corrupt it. But this is an incorruptible center. This center is your direct connection to the divine, and there's no fear that you're going to bring anything with you but experience. And that is what our purpose is on this planet, is to come down here, have experience like little fingers of God reaching out and touching the universe so that we can bring those experiences back to consciousness and have a more holistic idea of who we are as God, as a collective, as a whole.
It's good to know that the crown chakra in a way is the only one that's not connected inside the physical body. It sits above.
Like the halos of the Renaissance period painters.
So it plays by different rules, and it's allowed to play by different rules. It's like awareness itself. It is the love that it is not attached. It allows us to have the experiences without judging them as right or wrong or good or bad, or that preference that keeps us suffering. And when you can experience the grace of neutrality and the grace of knowing that everything has an isness or it's not as personal. It's not as personal.
But it's also deeply personal at the same time.
Because it's everything.
And if you've never had an enlightenment experience or a kensho or one of those moments where you just feel connected to everything, then I know what we're saying here is a little esoteric and out there. But hey, we're in the crown chakra. That's the way things are. But those of you who have experience and know exactly what we're talking about, it is a resonance of pure love, pure consciousness, pure awareness, and it is observing all of reality with no preference, with no judgments, with just pure, unadulterated love.
You can connect to everything all at once, honoring everybody's experience just the way it is, and know that it's all God. It's all meant to be. And there's a freedom, a beauty, and a divinity that is beyond words and beyond experience. It's the resonance of the truth.
It's the resonance of love. And that permeates through the entire chakra system. And this is why people are so obsessed with ascension. I want to get to that point. You want to remember what it feels like to be connected to everything and in pure, unadulterated bliss. And yes, It's wonderful. It really is. You can't diminish it. You can't say anything bad about it because it just is. But also,
But then
we're here.
Yeah.
We're having a human experience.
You got to climb back down the ladder, and you have to integrate those experiences and become it, embody it, because this is also an experience that can be honored.
And the 7 aspects of love are just simply our way of trying to express the responsibility we have as humans to create this bridge where we can more easily access the awarenesses of the higher chakras and bring them down into the experience of the lower chakras and have this beautiful harmonic experience so that we can play this metaphorical guitar of this body that we're inside of with grace and with beauty, like a flamenco Spanish guitar player, and just play it the way it was meant to be played, and not to fumble around with the strings as much. So ultimately, the 7 aspects of love for us is the idea of having a well-oiled, well-tuned instrument that you can play with grace and, of course, love.
I hope that resonates with you. To me, because like we said before, when we were introduced to these concepts, it was when Ryan and I were doing a program called The Journey of Ascension, actually. And it was about us connecting to every chakra every week and all the different chakras within that chakra.
It was a 49-day chakra intensive program.
Yes.
And what it really did was it stripped away the aspects of the self that we had created or held on to over years and years of conditioning, and like
helped us
pulling all the junk out of your closet. It helped you to look at your metaphorical closet of your being empty and go, wow, okay, I see the potential here. And I see the things that I had packed in here. Some of this stuff needs to go back and some of this stuff needs to go. And that process cleared so much space that we were able to have the awarenesses that we needed to embody, to what we call download the 7 aspects of love.
When we got to the Heart Week and the Heart Chakra Day, so heart, of course, we connected to these 7 aspects. They came to us like this divine ancient wisdom that was looking for people to connect with, to remember, and to seed us with something that really has incepted our entire lives at this point.
Oh, it's completely taken over.
And I've done many modalities, and I've done many beautiful healing processes from different cultures, from India to South America to European ancient practices. And I will tell you this about the 7 aspects. There is a certain wholeness, a certain completeness that these have. Everybody talks about, I need protection. There is nothing more protective than love. Because love doesn't banish. Love honors. It doesn't avoid. It accepts. And when we're looking to live our lives, we have to remember not to banish the challenges, because the challenges within themselves are the very thing that allows the soul to develop in such a beautiful way. If we didn't have a challenge, we would never find the strength to become ourselves.
And the 7 aspects of love is our way of explaining the mechanics of human experience and how to get them into alignment so that it doesn't feel so hard.
And feel like trauma. Because every time we go through a challenge and we don't accept it, we process it as trauma. Instead, when we connect to these 7 aspects, we see through the eyes of love. And we see why we're going through what we're going through. And we can go through it with more grace, more reverence, more acceptance, and more trust. And when you have that awareness, life gets just a little easier. Even if you're going through some of the hardest challenges of your entire life, and we are not immune to that at all.
Oh.
Actually, the loves brought us some of our biggest challenges.
100%.
But held our hand through it. And grace reigned true through our entire process.
You can think of the 7 aspects of love as a lifeline that connects you to the true you, the higher self, if you will, and reminds you that you are not doing this alone and you are not suffering through life. You are experiencing a curriculum of challenges that you set for yourself before you incarnated on this planet, and that it's all part of the growing process as a singular being and as a collective entity, as a contributor to the collective experience.
And what I've noticed, and I've done these aspects for so many different aspects of life, whether it be really personal or clearing out a traumatic basement that has, had all these traumatic experiences in them for hundreds of years, of teaching the energy to come back to the vibration of love. Because the only thing that really isn't in the vibration, well, that is too, is just our resistance to what was, what happened, and what is. The only thing that creates suffering is the resistance to accepting what is.
Which ultimately boils down to preference. And that the preference that we hold on to is the preference that we are in alignment with the 7 aspects of love. And that's why it's so important for us, and that's why we made this video, so we could share that with anyone who's interested in hearing what we have from our perspective discovered as a cornerstone to our human experience.
And when you connect to them, I think they speak loudly for themselves of the truth and the grace that love truly carries.
So we just want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, to listen to our explanation of the 7 aspects of love, and we are excited to dive deeper into this in future videos. We're writing a book about the 7 aspects, and of course you can visit us at our store in St. Augustine, Florida, and get tools that will help you to connect to those 7 aspects on the physical dimension.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we truly appreciate your energy as we give you ours. So in that spirit, we like to say thank you
For allowing yourself to be
guided by the omens.